Hey, my name is Samar, but I also go by Sam or First Time Panner, and any of those that you want to call me, you can. This will be my finale for my 2023 Deck of Panning Project Pan. This was created by Emily from, sorry, my wrist cracked. This is created by Emily from Emily and Max, so of course she'll be linked down below as always. She has created so many different projects and she's so creative and fun to watch. So if somehow you haven't seen her channel, you definitely should. And you should also check everyone else out who has been doing this project. You can click the hashtag that'll be in the title of this video and in the description box to see everyone else's video for Deck of Panning, because this is just a great project, a great collaborative project that so many people do. And in my opinion, this is the most fun one because it involves drawing prompts from a deck of cards that are randomized. Since this is the finale, we won't be drawing any cards, but yeah, the whole premise of the project is I can't speak. The whole premise of the project is just really fun. This is my second year doing it, and hopefully I'll be able to do it a third time if Emily does it again next year. So fingers crossed, but I'll just get into my finale. So I have all 5 products from last time, and I hit my goal on all but one, and one of them, if you've been keeping up with this project on my channel, you knew I wasn't gonna hit that goal anyway. But I'll start from oldest to newest. So the first one is for the prompt phone a friend. So I asked my friends what I should pan. They said eyeliner, so I brought in my Urban Decay 24/7 Glide on Eye Pencil in the shade 0, which is just their regular black. And look at how tiny this thing is. It's such a baby. I used it for the last time today. It was really scratching my eyes, so I'm not gonna use it anymore, and I can't sharpen it anymore because this bottom part has, as like eyeliners tend to do sometimes. Sorry, my neighbor must be like moving something on the wall and it keeps making noise and it's scaring me. But as some eyeliners and pencils tend to do, this part has like kind of broken away from the rest of the pencils, so every time I try to twist it, it just like twists around, and I can't actually hold on to it to sharpen it. So I only have this much space where the black is to like hold it in the sharpener, and I can't sharpen it anymore. Even when I didn't have my nails, I couldn't do it. So, oh yeah, I got my nails redone. So this is done. It's been a while since I finished an eyeliner, so there's a bubble in my throat. My water's on the other side of the room, so I'm gonna have to deal with it. But it's been a while since I finished an eyeliner, so I'm really happy with this. I still have my other one that I'm gonna try to finish by the end of the year. I am filming this a little bit early, so I do have like 14 days left in the year to finish that one. So now that I've finished this one, I can completely focus on that one, and I'll show you what this looks like on the paper. Here it is. I can barely even hold it with how short it is, but you get the gist of it. It's done, and first goal met. The next product is also a product that's on this paper, and this is for the prompt matte. This is my Bite Beauty Power Move Lip Crayon in the shade Calvados, and I've had this in, well, just as long as the eyeliner, but I've had this in for so long, and my original goal was to finish this, and I really thought I could because these do not take very much effort to finish. But the first like 3-4 months I had this in, I just like really wasn't actually putting in the effort because I was so distracted from all of the other lip products I was panning at the time. When I show you the progress that I made though, I think you'll be very proud of me. I'm very proud of me. So here's what it looks like, and considering how much was left, this was almost full at the time that I put this in the project. There's barely any left, and I will be putting this in some sort of project in 2024, and I know I'll be able to finish it off very quickly. This time I mean it, because now I've gotten into the habit of using this and I know how I like to use it. So yeah, I'll just show you on the paper. So here's where it is on the paper, and as you can see from this line, Considering how much movement I've made in the past month, which was like more than twice of the movement that I made every other month prior, if I just had this in for one more month, I could have finished it. But it is December and we're ending the project, and even though I didn't finish it and hit my goal, I did get a lot of progress on it, and progress is progress no matter what. A goal is kind of arbitrary. It's not irrelevant, but the project ending doesn't mean that I won't be able to work on this in the future and finish it. So yeah, now I'm that much closer to actually finishing this, and I'm very happy with that. I can tell my neighbor is like right next to our like adjacent wall because I can hear him very clearly, so I know he can hear me very clearly. I'm gonna start talking a little bit quieter. Not that I'm doing anything wrong, but I just feel a little bit awkward, so I'm gonna turn the volume up from here so that you can still hear me. The next prompt was wishlist dupe, and which just means, like as the name suggests, you put in an item that you already own to like dupe out something that's on your wish list to kind of like prevent you from buying it. And for that, I put in my Gemini palette from Milk Cosmetics, and this is not an exact dupe, but the whole reason for me putting this in 2 months ago now is because for over a year now, I've had the, well, up until last month, I had the Anastasia Beverly Hills Rose Metals palette in my wish list because I think the colors in that palette are so beautiful, especially the metallics. I think it's just a beautiful palette, especially for autumn. So to prevent myself from buying it, because I really don't need any palettes really ever again, I put in the Gemini palette because I'll show you what it looks like. I think even though these aren't really the same color story necessarily, this also is a very autumnal palette. It's beautiful, by the way. Mel always has beautiful packaging. So here's what the palette looks like, and as you can see, they're very autumnal colors. I'm trying like to hold this without gouging my nails into the pans, but by last update I had used all of the shades except for these 4 green ones here. And what I'm wearing now is all 4 of these shades plus 1 shade from the other palette in this project, which I'll talk about next. But yeah, I've used every shade in this palette now, which was my goal when I put it in 2 updates ago. And I love this palette. I'll describe what I'm wearing. So on my, I'll put the names on the screen. Kind of like all over my lid and like my brow bone and everything, just to set my eyeshadow primer, I put this lightest shade, and it turned out to be like more opaque than I thought it was gonna be. So I was like, oh, now my eye's completely green, even under my eyebrows. But I actually think it looks good, and it was great for like transitioning from my transition color, whatever. And then I put this shade in kind of like my crease and as my transition, and then I put this shade because I thought this was the darkest shade, but actually it's like when you build this shade up, this one is actually darker out of all the greens. But then I put this shade in my outer corner and realized this is actually, it looks like a darker murky green in the pan, but what it actually is on the eyes is kind of like a medium deep, kind of like truer green shade rather than murky. It's more like just green. So once I had that in the outer corner, I also put it on the inner corner and just decided I was gonna do a halo eye. I used to do halo eyes all the time when I first started wearing eyeshadow, and I almost never do them anymore, but I'm wearing a halo eye for the first time in like a few years now, and I think it's really pretty. Like, it's not the best quality because I'm out of practice with doing them, but I really like the look. Maybe I'll take a picture after. And then, I mean, of course, all over like the center of my lid, I have this green shimmer, which is a really beautiful green shimmer. it doesn't have like any special qualities, but it's still really beautiful nonetheless. And then on my bottom lash line, I'll mention it in the next palette when I get to it, but on my bottom lash line, oh, and then I put these two mattes on my bottom lash line as well. And then on top of that, I put a gold from the other palette. So that's the look that I have today. I will say every single shade in this palette is beautiful. The only thing that I have a problem with is this shade that's kind of like as my crease color and transition. I got a lot of skipping with this shadow, and I really shouldn't have, because like I said, I use eyeshadow primer and set it with a shade in here, so there was no reason for it to skip on my eyelids. I even built it up because I do sometimes get skipping from especially darker colors, but usually when I add a second layer and kind of use that to buff it out, it kind of just blends into itself and it's fine. But I couldn't get rid of the skipping with this one, so that is something that I'll have to try to like figure out how to avoid in future looks. So that is the one kind of downside to this palette, I think. Other than that, I love everything about it. Again, like I said last time, this nope but there's something in front of my phone, so I can't actually see the screen. So if I'm like looking weird, it's because I'm trying to like see what is transferring onto my camera. But anyway, this shimmer here, it's supposed to be like a kind of like gold peach flip or a duochrome shimmer, and on my eyes it's just gold, so that's another thing, but I honestly don't mind that. Even though I would like that type of color as a flip, I think that's like one of the prettiest types of duochromes, is like pink or peach and gold. It's okay. So this palette has a gold matte, and I'm really happy that I have this palette. I'm glad I got it while it was on sale especially. And I also met my goal on my Jaclyn Morphe palette. So I got this, I rolled it in last time for, I got the prompt random letter generator, and then I got the letter X, and I looked and looked and couldn't find anything, so I rolled again and I still got X. So I was like, something out there really wants me to do the letter X, and after a very long time of looking, I finally found the Morphe X Jaclyn Hill palette. So that's the backstory on how I chose this. And like always, I set a no pan left behind goal. So here's what it looks like. And since last update, I was able to use every shade in this palette. The one that I'm wearing now is this yellow gold called Drippin'. And everything else I've used in different looks, so I'm not really going to explain every single thing. It's just a nude palette. But I will say that my favorite part about this palette is, other than like, I love the mattes in here, I think the matte formula from Morphe is actually really great. It's really blendable and buildable. But my favorite thing about this palette specifically is this shade, which is called Exposed. It's like kind of like a almost gunmetal, but like brown toned, and I used this in almost every look that I did with this palette, as like I would put one of the shimmers on my lid and then I just top it with this shade, and it turns it into like a rustic, or like not rustic, but grungy look. I really love that about this palette specifically. I feel like this is another great fall palette, and technically we are still in fall as I'm filming this, so yeah, I love it. And I would say the only downside is, and I noticed this happening with I mean, I've only tried two palettes from Morphe, and they're both the Jaclyn Hill collabs, but I noticed with Morphe shimmers, they do get hard pan pretty much every time you use them. So like every other time I use like any of these shimmers, like pretty much the whole surface area has hard pan, so I have to go over the shade with tape. So that's really the only downside to this palette. You can kind of see the hard pan reflecting off of the shimmers. So that's not like a huge deal. I'm still like, I don't regret buying this palette, but that just is a slight inconvenience. None of you care, so I don't really need to be doing a whole review, but yeah. My last item is for the prompt travel or vacation, and what I do every time I get this prompt is I put in something that is either travel sized or is like a deluxe size sample that I would bring with me on vacation because it's so small. So this time I put in my Juliette Has a Gun Not A Perfume sample. I've had this for a while now because I got it in a little like trial pack from Juliette Has a Gun. I never used this sample specifically because I have 3 other like travel size, like actual travel size perfume bottles of this perfume, and I also have the full size. This is pretty much my favorite perfume ever, so I have like a lot of different sizes of this, but I thought it was like time to get this out of my collection. I don't need samples or like tiny little bottles taking up space. And I'm trying to use all of my perfume samples as fast as I can, especially because I bought quite a few perfume sample sets during the last Sephora sale, so I have to get through them. So as you can see, this is empty, nothing sprays out, and well, there's like a tiny bit on the bottom, but it doesn't spray. And I mean, I enjoyed using this because it is my favorite perfume, but yeah, it's done. So that was the last goal met. And that's it for this finale. Thank you so much to Emily for creating this project. It's a brilliant project, and by the way, she was inspired by Books with Maddie, who had a similar project for books. So definitely check out Books with Maddie if you're into like reading or booktube, because she was the inspiration for this project. So thank you to both of them. I love this project. I can't wait to do it again, assuming it does come back. I know like so many people would be excited if it came back, but other than that, I will just have to see you in my next video and hopefully in next year's deck of panning. Thank you so much for watching. Happy holidays and have a great day.